How can a country like this have in records, in its books, 13,000 as approved minimum wage? 13,000.
All right, sir.
And when poor countries like Zimbabwe, poor countries like Namibia, they have the equivalent of 40, 45, 50,000 shillings as minimum. The minimum wage in this country should not be anywhere below 50,000 if you look at the price index from housing to transport to foodstuffs. Below 50,000, you cannot live like a human being. This country requires more people. We need more Kenyans. Nobody should stop anybody from getting children. Let's get children.
But these are poor households in Elgeyo Marakwet. You tell them to have upwards of 7, 8 children, that you will provide it as a member of parliament.
God will take care of them. God will take care of them. And look here, my friend. When you tell people in Marsabit or Elgeyo Marakwet, because they are poor, they should not get children, then you are the one who is failing. It is government to improve the lives of those people.
And make them comfortable.
Yes, it's a government to put up schools and health facilities and infrastructure and make life bearable and livable. If the National Council for Population and whatever says we should reduce the Kenyan population, they should pack and go home. We cannot use taxpayer money to fund and pay people who are telling us to cut down our population. They should go home. Leave our population alone. Leave Kenyan women alone to give birth to Kenyan children. Find a way of improving the economy and not tell Kenyans wawache kuzaa.
In 2012, Kenya passed a landmark policy that will see it manage the rapid population growth witnessed in Kenya. The very same bulging population that is posing as a threat towards the realization of the Vision 2030 agenda with regards to providing Kenyans with the highest quality of living standards. Well, that forms the basis of our conversation today here on Business Glide. And as always, I'm yours truly, Richard Mwenja, and to bring this conversation home is none other than renowned public scholar, the first of his name, Herman Manyora.
How are you?
All right, you're looking good in a black suit. What's the occasion, sir?
Oh, yes, just to be smart once in a while.
All right.
To fight age.
I see. But you're aging like fine wine, I always tell you that.
Yeah, okay.
All right, sir. We are talking about matters to do with population and the rapid population witnessed here in Kenya, which is actually posing a threat in a way or two. But first, let's take account of what has brought us to this ground this far. And you can signal that it's because of the low uptake of family planning and contraceptive measures in Kenya. Speaking to that issue and how we should go around the issue of educating Kenyans on the importance and significance of family planning.
Let me begin from the onset by stating clearly,
I see.
Categorically, I do not subscribe to that thinking.
Why so?
I do not believe we have to get worried about our population. That's not to say that we cannot plan our families to give them the best and so on and so forth. But the way it is given to us is like we are being scared. That, you know, that Malthusian theory, that the world is almost getting to a point where it will just blow itself off because of population. I don't subscribe to that. I don't think Kenya has a population I can even be proud of.
All right.
I think at this stage, Kenya is supposed to have about 250 million people.
All right.
We need Africans to be many.
I see.
We need to make a point in the world. So I don't subscribe to this idea of we are not doing well because of population. How?
All right.
Yeah.
Many members of the civil society have fronted the family planning method or suggestion because if you look at the Kenyan economy, the high cost of living is what has probably signaled that this is the route we should go so that every Kenyan lives at least a noble life, a life with dignity. Do you subscribe to the same?
We have enough resources in this country to make Kenyans live a comfortable life, a 21st century life. What we don't have is enough money for the greed of a few. But look at every sector and tell me whether our population is too much. Even look at land. Are you saying Kenyan land cannot support a population of 400 million people? The answer is certainly no. We can support half a billion people. I mean, what are we talking about? Look at anything. Look at schools. Look at medical facilities. This country can, even today, if we woke up and by some miracle, we found we were 250 million, we can support that population. But the problem is, our policies are geared towards making a few people rich.
All right.
And the family planning efforts are external. They are not internal. They are not us seeing we need. It is a push from external forces, forcing us to see ourselves as if we are going to collapse tomorrow if we don't do a lot of family planning. And that's not true. It's
All right.
not true. I don't subscribe to that view.
I see. Talking about probably the landmass of Kenya being able to feed the nation, you've seen the current drought cycles in the country. Instead of us thinking of probably taming the Kenyan population, are you suggesting that going for agricultural subsidies and incentives to that sector will really push many Kenyans into the bracket whereby they are at a position to afford food and all that?
Tell me, if you are to extract Israel as a geographical entity and plaque it on the map of Kenya, where will it fit? First of all, would it be in the arid and semi-arid parts of Kenya, or it will be in Western Kenya? It will be in the arid and semi-arid area. And even then, a small dot there, are they able to feed themselves?
They are.
So what are we talking about?
All right, I see.
You have answered your question yourself.
Somehow.
Yeah, not somehow. You answered yourself. It is not that we have a problem arising out of population that we are unable to feed ourselves. We are simply lazy. We don't want to think. We are lazy. We don't come up with good policies. Where there are good policies, we don't implement those policies. Where we implement some of the policies, we look at the money and how to steal the money.
I see.
Period.
A number of economists and policy analysts have suggested that the government should probably adopt the one-child legislation or 2 children maximum, like it's happening in countries, first world countries like China and Japan and so forth, so that we do not only boast of a population of 7.5 million Kenyans, but we boast of a population that is living the most dignified life. Should we legislate on how many children and households should probably procreate?
People who talk like that are houseboys and housegirls of certain international NGOs and think tanks who think Africans can be guinea pigs and played around with. How can you equate China? To China, population is an issue. It is an issue. It's an issue you can see. And therefore, they have gotten to a point, and they have been at that point for a while now, where you can't just do business as usual in matters of population. You have to do something. You talk of Japan. Japan would wish to have more children. Japan, I think, has the most aged population. Where in Japan, for your information, we used to call them nappies. What do you call them? What do you call these things? Children, you wrap children. So diapers.
Yeah.
In Japan, they are sold more to old people than to children. So what are you talking about population? In Europe, there is a certain percentage. I'm not an expert. You'll need to find out. You are the experts. I think 2% or something. If a population cannot reproduce itself at a certain percentage, then it is regressing and it can face extinction. Some countries in Europe have reached that point where they are not able to practically reproduce themselves. Some societies, like in America, for example, the white populations are soon being overtaken by other non-white populations. And I'm not saying that that's bad, but I'm just saying imbibing this nonsense that we need to adopt something like one family, one child can be catastrophically dangerous to the country.
I see.
Yeah.
All right. There are proposals that Kenya, to avoid the issue of there being a stampede over natural resources and also public resources, that it's high time Kenya does away with foreign refugees who are taking refuge here in the country. The case of Dadaab refugee camp, those in Kakuma and so forth, so that Kenya allocates its resource to its very people. But until when we have a surplus, that's when we can now bring international community of refugees and all that. How do you view that?
I've heard William Ruto talk about that, either from America or from the UK, that if he becomes president, he will close the Dadaab camps. Of course, he's qualified it, which is good. I don't think that is quite a very easy thing the way somebody might once said. It's a complex issue. Of course, if you have foreigners consuming your resources, you'd want them to go out so that you benefit from your own resources.
Yeah, maximize it.
And it's not just economic resources. Refugees will come with all manner of challenges, including crime, including cultural pollution. And there are so many challenges. And one would always be happier if after having given refuge to people because of the problems of where they come and there are people like us, it must get to a point where at least they should say thank you and go back home. And the UN, through its agencies, should make that possible. But for Kenya, I think they have been a little unfair to Kenya. No, they have been a little unfair to Kenya. The strain of the refugee population in this country to this country must surely concern anybody, whether they are Kenyans or not. And when President Uhuru Kenyatta talked about removing the refugees once and for all, he received a lot of beatings from backlash and beatings and push and pull from many quarters, including the United Nations High Commission and all that. For refugees. I think they were being unfair to Kenya. They are being unfair to Uhuru. We must work together with the UN and its agencies and all concerned and the donor countries, Somalia, for example, in this case, and ask Somalia, the government of Somalia, make conditions favorable for refugees to come back home. Because what is the point of warlords and other cheap politicians fighting in Mogadishu, messing everything, when they can sit down and say, we've been at this nonsense for too long? And where is AU, for example? Look at what's happening in Southern Sudan. When we are happy that Southern Sudan as a new country can take care of its own problem, you find the leadership is messing everything. Now, instead of us ending the refugee problem, they are creating fresh refugee problems. So, yes, we need to do something about refugees.
All right, sir. You have a deep understanding of the political landscape in Kenya. And what do you make of leaders, especially those in Rift Valley, who are inciting the electorate to give birth to more children so that they can expand the electorate by just buying them out with the few foodstuffs and so forth? You saw Natembea saying, mwache kuzoa watoto kaa njugu ndio muongeze kura ya wananchi. How do you view such politicians who trade their ideologies on such grounds?
Everything a politician says, you must take it with a pinch of salt. They may not even believe it. They may be saying just for populists' sake, just to be populist. But if they meant it, I would support them. I'll support them because this country requires more people. We need more Kenyans. Nobody should stop anybody from getting children. Let's get children.
But these are poor households in Elgeyo Marakwet. You tell them to have upwards of 7, 8 children that you will provide it as a member of parliament.
God will take care of them. God will take care of them. And look here, my friend. When you tell people in Marsabit or Elgeyo Marakwet, because they are poor, they should not get children, then you are the one who is failing. It is government to improve the lives of those people.
And make them comfortable.
Yes, it's a government to put up schools and health facilities and infrastructure and make life bearable and livable. It has nothing to do with the number of children.
I see.
No, that is escapist.
We have over 8 million Kenyan youth and even those in the middle age who are skilled but unemployed. The government is proposing that perhaps we bring family planning on board so that at least secure the 8 million with jobs, so that if you are thinking about now going back to the old system of having as much children as you want, at least we'll have already sorted the baggage of unemployment in Kenya.
That is insincere, that is laziness, that is just useless. Let us not link population
to unemployment.
And to the cost of living. Government must ensure the economy is growing by doing the things it needs to grow the economy, to create jobs. Not to tell. Today they will tell you not to give birth to more than 2 children. Tomorrow they will tell you let's kill some of them. Come on, that is a poor argument. I don't buy such a cheap foreign-sponsored argument. This is a cheap argument. The government has a responsibility to grow the economy, to make the environment conducive for investment, to provide infrastructure, to provide incentives for economic growth. And then that's one thing leads to the other, because then people will have money in their pocket, a shilling in their pocket. They'll take care of their family. Whether it's a family of 3 children or 5, but with a shilling in their pocket, you take care of them.
I see.
That's a cheap argument that let's link population to all the problems we have. No, I don't think.
Sticking to the employment corridors, sir, you've seen majority of Kenyans are involved in on the conduit of brain drain. You've seen many of our graduates going to seek for opportunities in Canada and so forth. And this because probably they haven't found opportunities right back here in Kenya. Will you say that that poses a potential threat towards the progress of Kenya, because the best minds are looking for opportunities somewhere else because they don't find it back at home?
I think that is a contradiction of sorts. Because, one, when people leave, quite often the best you have, and at a cost, you have trained them to be where they are. If you have trained doctors, it is a terrible cost. It's a big cost rather to society, to Kenyan government, to Kenyan parents, to communities. Then you train them, then they go to Zimbabwe. They go to Namibia. They go as nurses, doctors, they go to the UK. That is bad. That's brain drain. But there's also the other side of the coin.
Which is?
We can export, and indeed we should export labor.
Labor migration.
Yes. As a way of fixing unemployment. When you look at the level of development of this country, juxtaposed or compared with the neighboring countries, actually, if I'm in charge of this country, Kenya should be looking for people to employ. Because we will have labor migration policy. I have said this before, let me say it perhaps maybe the last time, because I get very annoyed. Do you know there are countries around us where even a simple malaria test, malaria parasite test, cannot be done in a place like say Machakos? You have to come to Nairobi. What am I saying? They are that level where if you are a car broker down in Kakamega, my friend, you'll have to tow the vehicle to Nairobi to get somebody who can fix.
Well, Eldoret.
Where if your lights had a problem, electricity, some wiring problem in my village in Luombei, I will have to move to Kakamega town or Kisumu or even Nakuru to get somebody. What am I saying? I'm saying some of these countries are so behind in many ways that if we target them for the next 20 years, the way we are more or less by default targeted, that's by default Rwanda, where Kenyans in Botswana and Rwanda have done wonderful things. If this was a deliberate policy, we would flood Kenyans in these southern African countries, Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, but Zimbabwe are much better than us in education. You know, Namibia and all these countries. Yeah. Congo, DRC, Congo, Rwanda, Burundi, all these countries around us. We can export 10 million jobs every year.
All right, sir. Yeah. What do you make of Kenya's minimum wages and salaries? Because the labor force under the 47.5 million Kenyans and above isn't more of justified with what they're earning and what is supporting their disposable income. Would you say, in as much as you have a population probably crisis, which you don't read from the same script, it's also high time with the rise in cost of living. We probably increase the coin it's getting into their pockets.
You know, there's a small book I wrote called Why Things Won't Work in Kenya.
Yeah.
In this book, I have an essay on the slave, the slave, I can't remember what it's called. What I'm trying to say is that we have slave wages in this country. The slaves of the Kenyan labor market. What am I saying is that Kenyans work like slaves. We don't have a living wage. We inherited a system from the colonial masters where Africans was just supporting an economic system, whether agricultural or otherwise, even including administration, just clerk. And these Africans were not seen as human beings, and therefore they were never given a salary. So the difference between an African nurse and a Mzungu nurse was like the difference between here and Mombasa, in terms of salaries, entitlements, and so much. We inherited that and we have not changed. So how can a country like this have in records, in its books, 13,000 as approved minimum wage? 13,000.
All right, sir.
And when poor countries like Zimbabwe, poor countries like Namibia, they have the equivalent of 40, 45, 50,000 shillings as minimum. The minimum wage in this country should not be anywhere below 50,000 if you look at the price index, from housing to transport to foodstuffs. Below 50,000, you cannot live like a human being.
I see.
Yes.
The very last, sir. Kenya's population growth is projected to grow to 77 million by 2030. For the National Council for Population and Development, how would you advise them to go around the issue of making sure the population that is in Kenya is achieving highest quality standards? Because they are proposing the issue of cutting down the population. But you've said population is here to stay and it should grow. How should they go about now improving?
If the National Council for Population and whatever says we should reduce the Kenyan population, they should pack and go home. We cannot use taxpayer money to fund and pay people who are telling us to cut down our population. They should go home. Leave our population alone. Leave Kenyan women alone to give birth to Kenyan children. Find a way of improving the economy and not tell Kenyans wawache kuzaa. Serikali itafutia wa Kenya pesa kupitia miradi The government must come up with strategies of improving the economy, to better the economy, to employ Kenyans, to put money in Kenyan shillings, to improve household incomes, and not to tell people not to give birth.
So you're suggesting actually
They should go home. National Council for Population and whatever they should,
and Development.
they should go home.
All right. Or you're even telling the government to abstain from corruption, but not telling Kenyans to abstain.
Yeah, why do you want to steal money and you say we are too many? The government can't support us, can't give us services because you want to steal that money.
I see.
Wa China, wa mama wa Kenya wakitaka kuzaa wazae.
All right. Yes. Well, that climax by Herman Manyora takes us to the wrap of conversation today on Business Glide, touching on matters population and development issues therein. Well, we take you to our fan of the week, who is Mercy Kemei in Nairobi.
Mercy Kemei from Nairobi, thank you for being part of the family. Encourage your friends, relatives, and all the others around you to join the family. It's great fun, and we love having you people work with us.
All right, absolutely. Well, make sure you get posted on our subsequent editions of Business Glide that covers everything you should get posted on in matters business and economics and emerging issues in the Kenyan economy. Until next time, have a restful day. And up next on your screen is the Business Glide African Proverb of the Day.